It's time for the weekend
Roundup,
roundup.
where we recap every series that was from the past weekend. This is our first of the year, Jack.
Yeah, this is our first together. This is what, the third weekend that you guys have done? Because you and Aram had the first two, but this is my first because it is a non-travel day on Sunday. Marlins have an off day today on Monday, and then they continue a homestand on Tuesday against Arizona. So any non-travel day on a Sunday, I look forward to with you.
And I'll probably always be here for every weekend roundup because it's my favorite episode of the week. And without further ado, should we just get straight into it?
You don't want a small talk at all? That's fine. I'm totally in on that.
I'd rather just recap Giants versus Yankees. We'll go to our first series of the weekend, and this was a battle of heavyweights. Game one, Giants win 9-1 in 6 innings before rain ended the game. Jung Hoo Lee, and this will be a theme throughout the series, opens the scoring with his first home run of the season, a 3-run shot. Giants kept it going against Stroman. He walks the next two before Lamont Wade Jr. drives in both on a 2-run double. Now, Marcus Stroman did not make it out of the first inning, allowing 5 earned, walking 3. Yankees score their first run in the second on what looked like an Austin Wells home run, but it was called a double, bounced right on top of the wall. Couldn't have been any closer to a home run, but that was all the Yankees did, as the Giants added runs off the bat of Wilmer Flores, Patrick Bailey, and Lamont Wade Jr., and Robbie Ray was great, albeit in a only 4 inning spurt, allowing 1 run and striking out 7. Let's move over to game two, where the Yankees win 8-4. They start the scoring with 2 runs in the first, courtesy of a Cody Bellinger RBI triple and a Paul Goldschmidt sac fly. Wilmer freaking Flores, dude, answers back with his sixth home run of the season, a 2-run shot off Yankee starter Will Warren. Yankees put up 5 runs, though, in the fifth, knocking Jordan Hicks out of the game. Cody Bellinger started the rally with an RBI single. Then Goldschmidt, Volpe, and Jason Dominguez followed with RBIs of their own. Now, the Giants got 2 more in the sixth, driven by the best hitter in the National League, Wilmer Flores. But the best hitter in the American League, Ben Rice, answers with his fourth home run of the season. Will Warren only allowed 2 runs through 5 while striking out 6. And of course, Jordan Hicks got crushed for 7 earned in 4 innings. We go to the final game of the series, where the Giants won in a banger, 5-4. Paul Goldschmidt opened the scoring for the Yankees with an RBI single, and then they added 2 more against Logan Webb in the third on an RBI double from backup catcher J.C. Escara and an RBI single from Ben Rice. But Jung Hoo Lee would not be denied, homering in the fourth, a solo shot. But then he came back up in the sixth with ducks on the pond and homered again on another hanging slider from Carlos Rodon to give the Giants a 4-3 lead. Christian Koss, I didn't even
Mm-hmm.
know who that was, if I'm being
Mm-hmm.
perfectly honest with you, drove in a run in the seventh on a ball that went through Paul Goldschmidt's legs to push the score to 5-3. Jazz Chisholm broke out of his slump with his fifth home run of the season in the eighth, but it wasn't quite enough. The San Francisco Buster Posey Giants win the series, move to 11-4, and the Yankees fall to 8-7.
That was very fastest 2 minutes of you. The San Francisco Buster Posey Giants. I like that. That was very pardon my take-ish. But the only reason I know who Christian Koss is, UC Irvine was a YD Red Sox, Yarmouth Dennis out on the Cape Cod Baseball League in 2018. So he was teammates with your friend Andrew Dashbach. Christian Koss was teammates with Dash
Hell
in
yeah.
Yarmouth Dennis. So that's what you got. That's the only reason why I know who that dude is. Bellinger needs to get going. This was a nice weekend for him to start getting going. When do we come to the realization that Ben Rice might be real?
I talked about that in, I think, the either Friday or Thursday episode. I think it might have been with Aram, where I said, and we even put out a clip too, that this is the future at first base for the New York Yankees.
Wow.
He is pulverizing fastballs to a level that it's like it's not sustainable. I mean, he's hitting like 450 against him. He has all of his hits. The one concern with Ben Rice is he's still struggling mightily with breaking balls. but it's a much more mature AB than it was last year. He looks like a more well-rounded hitter. We talked about the play discipline. The power is absurd. The hard hit rate is out of this world, but that is something that he's going to need to continue to improve before teams just start spinning him to death, because why in the world would you give Ben Rice a fastball right now?
He is getting spun to death. He's 1 for 14 with 10 strikeouts against breaking balls, but against fastballs, he's 12 for 25, which is 480, and he's slugging over 1,000. He has 4 homers. He's punched out just twice. My favorite thing, the average exit velocity and launch angle for him on fastballs right now. Average exit velocity is 101.2 miles an hour, and the average launch is 15 degrees. So, like 101 at 15, the average fastball that he's hitting is just absolutely massacred into a gap or maybe even getting over a wall.
He's been unbelievable. And as much as I want to talk about the Yankees as a Yankee fan, let's give it over to the winners of this series, the San Francisco Giants. How about Jung Hoo Lee?
Yeah.
How about Jung Hoo Lee? He's got 3 homers now on the season. He's got 3 steals. He's hitting 352 with an OPS over 1100. This is a guy who the Giants brought over, of course, from the KBO. Was a big time signing for them. Got started only at 158 plate appearances last year before hurting his shoulder, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think it was a
Missed
dislocated shoulder. Yeah.
missed the rest of the season. And Giants fans didn't really know what they had here, right? You hear good things from a guy coming over, but then he puts up a 641 OPS and he gets hurt. And they're thinking to themselves, all right, let's hope he plays good defense because we know he has a rocket for an arm. We know he has speed. Can he hit it all? Well, right now, he's hitting third in the lineup. Those contact skills are elite. But when he starts hitting for power like this, I mean, I'm jealous. Watching him hit two into the right field stands in Yankee Stadium using that short porch, I'm like, damn it, why did we side this guy? This is a really, really exciting piece for the Giants. And their whole lineup is just littered with good offensive pieces right now, which is different than a lot of Giants teams that we've talked about in the past. Now, this is more of a blanket statement about the Giants over the past couple of seasons because sometimes the pitching is not quite as good as the offense, but generally speaking, the Giants, when they've been finishing in mediocre land, 81 and 81,
Yeah.
79 and whatever, it's been mostly pitching over hitting, right? We know that trend that nobody's hit 30 home runs for the Giants since
Yeah,
Barry Bonds.
but they're doing it because they have a starting rotation. Then they hand it over to whichever closer is awesome that year, whether it's Duvall or Ryan
Exactly.
Walker. Previously, it was like Romo and Brian Wilson, if we want to go that far back.
Right? A lot of low scoring wins.
Yeah.
Not this year. And it's not because the pitching is struggling and they're just out hitting everybody. The pitching is doing really well, especially that bullpen, which you've already talked about plenty of times and will continue to talk about. But it's the offense. You add in Willie Adames, you add in, well, of course, Matt Chapman's already been there, but
I
he's been
mean,
great.
Yaz is killing, man. Mike Yastrzemski's awesome. Wilmer Flores has 6 pumps, man. Like, they're doing all of this while Willie Adames has a 506 OPS.
Yeah. This is a good team.
It's a
It's a
good team.
really good team. Don't
Yeah,
sleep on the Giants.
I'm with you.
Should we move on to the next series?
Mm-hmm.
Blue Jays versus Orioles. It was a 2-game set because the first game got postponed. I think they're going to play it in like July or something. Not
That makes sense.
exactly.
We're making up in Atlanta in August. Like, it was
Yeah.
just one of those that happened.
They're just throwing it way down the line and just saying, yeah, Orioles and Blue Jays, they'll play sometime in the future. We're not going to deal with it right now. But what we are dealing with is game one. Orioles win 5-4. The $500 million man, Vladdy Jr., gets a scoring started with an RBI double, and Bo Bichette follows that up with an RBI single in the second. Then Anthony Santander hits his first home run of the season in the third, 3-0 Blue Jays after three. But Heston Kjerstad hits his first home run of the year in the fifth, a 2-run shot to narrow the lead, and then Adley Rutschman ties it up with his third home run of the season in the sixth, and then Cedric Mullins drives in two on a 2-run double to take a 5-3 lead. Now the Blue Jays look to rally in the second after 2 straight hits, but Bichette grounded into a double play, scoring 1, and then Vladdy grounded out. Game over. Orioles win. Bowden Francis struggled, allowing 5 earned in 5 earned in 5 2/3 innings. Sagano walked the tightrope, allowing 3 earned on 8 hits in 4 2/3.
Yeah.
We'll move on to game two. Blue Jays win 7-6. This is one of the best games of the weekend. A wild game opens with a wild pitch by Jose Barrios. Gunnar Henderson scoots home for the first run of the game. Alejandro Kirk gets it back for Toronto in the second with his first home run of the season, but then Ryan Mountcastle gets it right back for Baltimore with his first home run of the season. Then Vladdy gets it back in the third with an RBI single. And then Adley gets it back by grounded into a fielder's choice, which scored a run. And for the first time in the game, a team scored twice in a row as Tyler O'Neill hit his second home run of the year in the fourth to give Baltimore a 4-2 lead. Now, Miles Straw grabs a Blue Jays run in the sixth, but Vladdy falls apart on defense in the sixth, allowing 2 runs to score, 6-3 Orioles after 6 innings. Now, the Blue Jays have been here before. They never win these types of games,
Yep.
except today. Blue Jays rally in the eighth, starting with an Alejandro Kirk RBI double, and then Davis Schneider adds an RBI and a groundout, and then Bo Bichette clutches up with an RBI single to tie the game at 6. And we're going into extras, and Miles Straw's infield single ends up being the difference. Shout out Jeff Hoffman, 2 innings. The Blue Jays have not had a closer like Jeff Hoffman since Jordan Romano was good a few years ago. And Jeff Hoffman looks better than Jordan Romano ever looked in a Toronto uniform, even though he had some good years there.
Yeah.
But you can tell it felt a lot better. Series split. Blue Jays moved to 9-7. Orioles 6-9.
Yeah, Baltimore, you're not hitting the panic button yet, but
No.
it does feel like this division can get away from them pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
I like we play the non-zero chance game all the time. Like everything in baseball has a non-zero chance of actually happening. There is a legitimate, and I will use this, a non-zero chance that Baltimore finishes fifth in the AL East because the AL East is so good, but also like Baltimore, there's some suspect nature to this team. I will say on the Toronto side, Jeff Hoffman has been amazing. Jimmy Garcia getting to him has also been amazing. The
Yeah.
fact that they can go Jimmy Garcia to Jeff Hoffman 8 and 9 is like it's not game over. Right now, I do think Puck and Martinez is like game over in Arizona,
Oh, yeah.
but there aren't many tandems like that. I think they're approaching that level. And in 2, 3 weeks, we could be looking at them as game over.
Yeah, I love this tandem. And Chad Green is their 7th inning guy, and he was sometimes closing games in the ninth for them last year, which is not exactly ideal. But you move Chad Green down to the 7th spot, and you can see why the Blue Jays have been winning some close games. And this comes to us from Sportsnet stats. So this is what I meant about the Blue Jays. They never win these games. Prior to today's victory, the Blue Jays had lost 143 consecutive games when trailing by 3+ runs in the 8th inning or later. This is the first time they won since April 26th of 2022. That's why I think I was talking about it with you yes, it was on Friday's episode when we were talking about division leaders. Like you see the vision a little bit. I mean, when you have like finally a bullpen that can hold leads, they have a good rotation. I mean, to start the season, it's been one of the best rotations in baseball, but we don't really care about that. What is it going to look like for the rest of the season? I think an above average rotation. Every single one of those guys, even going all the way down to Easton Lucas in this rotation. I mean, the front four give you a chance to win every day. And if Lucas can develop into a solid 5 starter, which he has already shown this year, this is a very solid rotation. And now the offense is going to come and go. But to see Anthony Santander heat up a little bit in the series is huge. And with Bichette and Vladdy doing their thing, and you got a couple of complementary pieces down the lineup, it's really nice to see Alejandro Kirk finally helping this team too. You see the offense, you see the rotation, and they finally have a bullpen. I'm telling you, I see the vision. Are they going to win the division? I'm not sure. Are they above 500 this season? I think absolutely. And this is a team that can beat anybody at any given time. This is an exciting Blue Jays team.
Yeah, I'm starting to understand where you're coming from, but I don't know. Like I want to see Springer come back to earth. As negative as that sounds, like I just know it's going to happen at some point because it's been such tough sledding for the last couple of years. I want to see what they look like when Springer comes back down to earth. And I want to see what it looks like when, Andres Jimenez isn't really standing on his head anymore. And I know that's like kind of stopped happening at this point, but Jimenez like 786 OPS, I still think that's a little high. Miles Straw and 860 OPS in 11 games, I still think that's a little high. So, like, I understand that you're going to go through ebbs and flows over the course of a big league season where Miles Straw is playing well and Jimenez is great and George Springer's having out of body experience. I just want to see what the baseline Toronto Blue Jays look like. And I feel like we haven't gotten that just yet.
I know where you're coming from, and it's also a bad time to be talking about George Springer. I forgot to put it in my write up, but I saw it live. Like George Springer left the game with a wrist injury, which is not exactly ideal. Good news from X-rays though, according
Good.
to RotoWire. So again, not exactly sure when he'll be fine, but again, X-rays are good. So that's all the information that we have right now.
Good.
But yeah,
All right.
going back to the Orioles for a second, right? We talk about the Blue Jays in their rotation. You know, everybody gives you a chance to win on any given day. I just feel like the Orioles are at a disadvantage every single day with their rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, Eflin is like the guy, and then what, right? Grayson will return eventually, and this offense is great, and I still really like the bullpen, and teams can get by with this, but the Orioles have gone through plenty of stretches where they can't hit. And if they go through those stretches in the middle of the summer where they're not hitting at all, it can get real bad real fast. I mean, they're 6-9 to start the year, and
Yeah.
it's not like the offense has been horrible, but they're 6-9 to start the year.
Yeah. Are
So
you still hitting 400 against Shigano if you get what 10 ABs?
you don't have to exaggerate. I did say 300, which I still
You
believe,
said
yeah.
300. Okay. Got it. Are you still hitting 300 against Shigano?
Did you like I threw that back at you? Yes,
It was
yes, of course. I said,
so
no wonder the Blue Jays were the team to do it. That team fits my skill level a little bit more.
okay.
And
Got
then
you.
someone was like, "So you're comparing yourself to Alejandro Kirk?" We're talking about this in the Discord, just joking around, obviously. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm probably worth 60 million as a bat."
There you go.
All right, like yes, just going back to the Orioles real quick, right? They've scored more runs than the Rays. They've scored more runs than the Blue Jays, but they're the only team in the American League East with a negative run differential because they've given up 72 runs.
Yeah. So for me, it's not an offense question. It never was an offense question. It was a starting pitching depth question, and it was a relievers outside of Felix Bautista question.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to the third series on the slate, Royals versus Guardians, game one. Also, this was a remember how especially you, well, I've been feeling this, but a lot of the guys that you named when you were a little bit lower on the Guardians, remember when you said you were getting a little bit nervous?
Yeah.
All of those guys had incredible series. So
Yeah.
let's
Sure.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Game one, Guardians win 7-0. Gabriel Arias gets the scoring going with his second home run of the year, a 3-run shot. And the only other scoring came in the 4-run inning in the eighth from Cleveland. Angel Martinez gets it going with a sac fly. Stephen Kwan drove in another on a single. And then Jose Ramirez reached on a Jonathan India error. That was a bad error. It was an easy pop up, and it just bounces off of his glove, scoring a run. And then Carlos Santana drove in the fourth run on an RBI single. How about Chris Bubich? I know the Guardians won 7-0, but he had another quality start. His ERA is at 0.96 after 3 starts. But also, how about our boy Tanner Bybee bouncing back for a shutout through 4 2/3 with 4 strikeouts? We'll move on to game two. Guardians win 6-3. Vinny P, though, started the scoring for the Royals with his second home run of the year, a solo shot, but Gabriel Arias answered with an RBI single in the fourth, and then Jose Ramirez plated another on a sac fly in the fifth, and Gabriel freaking Arias continued his hot streak with his third home run of the season in the sixth, another solo shot, and Angel Martinez extends the lead with a 2-run ground rule double, and then they added another on a Sam Long wild pitch. The Royals rallied in the ninth for 2 runs, but it wasn't enough. Jack, your vision for Luis Ortiz came true in this game. My dear God, he was phenomenal. 5 2/3, only one hit, only one earned run, 10 punch outs. Luis Ortiz propaganda. I can't wait to hear it in your recap. All right, we'll move to game three first. Royals win 4-2, avoiding the sweep. Daniel Schneemann started the scoring with an RBI double, but that was turned into a 2-run inside the park home run as Bobby Witt Jr. sailed the relay throw home, but Salvi got it back for the Royals. with a 2-run home run in the fourth. And then Michael Garcia, my guy, gives the Royals the lead with a 2-run rocket double to score 2 runs in the fifth. And that was it because Cole Reagans was a freak show yet again. 7 2/3, 1 earned, 10 strikeouts. He's the second Royals pitcher ever with 3 straight starts with at least 10 strikeouts. Kevin Appier was the first back in 1996, and Kevin Appier has a higher career baseball reference WAR than Hall of Famer Fred McGriff. Fun fact of the day. Guardians move to 8-7. Royals fall to 8-8.
Reagan's is nasty. Everybody knew that already. Luis Ortiz is nasty. I think a lot of people already knew that, but this is the Luis Ortiz that Cleveland saw and traded for. Like,
Yeah.
this is the Luis Ortiz that cost him what Spencer Horwitz rerouted. It was pretty much Andres Jimenez for Luis Ortiz because it
Yeah.
was Jimenez for Horwitz and another piece, I want to say, and then it was Ortiz and two prospects for Horwitz. I couldn't believe that it cost Pittsburgh more than Luis Ortiz to go get Spencer Horwitz. Like it was Michael Kennedy and Hartle along with Luis Ortiz. Ortiz has the ability to be a mid-rotation starter and a really good one. Like show
Yeah.
you flashes of front line. I'm not saying he's an all-star starting pitcher. I'm just saying after Bybee, I feel good about Gavin Williams because I'm optimistic. And then you look at like Lively, Ortiz, can't tell whoever you want to look at there. Bieber's obviously going to come back. I think we could be watching postseason baseball and seeing Luis Ortiz shove across 6 innings. Like I think he's that guy that can do that, and this was just an example of what he can do. And a lot of people that have been watching NL Central baseball last year, like they know that he can do this, but I think he just introduced himself to a new division.
So where's your brain at right now on the Guardians? Because I think the Guardians confuse you more than any other team. We all have it, right? Those teams where
Yeah,
we love and then we're like, and then we love again and then we're like, again. Where are you at with the Guardians? Because on Friday's episode, you were getting nervous.
yeah,
On today's episode, you say we possibly could be watching Luis Ortiz in the playoffs. So,
yeah.
like,
I
and
mean,
it's hard to
obviously,
gather your thoughts. It's so early. I'm just curious where they're at currently.
a lot more needs to happen for them to be a playoff team. Like a couple of guys need to step up. John Kensey Noel, I love you, dude. You have to be better than a 188 slugging percentage. Like we're 35 plate appearances in, and he doesn't have an extra base hit yet.
Yeah.
Lane Thomas, we're 33 plate appearances in, and he's got a double, and he's walked once. Bo Naylor, like he's not out of the doghouse yet. Brian Rocchio is not out of the doghouse yet. So I just look at this roster of position players, and I'm like, are you playoff caliber this year? I don't know. Especially with the questions surrounding the starting rotation after Bybee. Like Gavin Williams, I think is really good. Is he going to be really good for 30 turns?
We don't know.
I think Luis Ortiz is good. Is he going to be good for 30 turns?
We don't know.
So, like, I have those questions, and you couple that with the bottom five in their lineup or the bottom four in their lineup being pretty suspect, and it makes my brain hurt.
Last thing to wrap up, because I agree with you. Like, I don't really have much to add. I was already low on the Guardians coming into the year, but then they win a series like this against who we think is the best team in the division. Like,
Yeah.
that's what the Guardians
But
do. They just
this
hang
division
around.
also stinks. Like, can I acknowledge that? This
I don't think
division's
it's
not good.
I don't think it stinks. I think it's wide open. Like, I don't think the Tigers are bad at all.
Yeah,
I don't
wide
think the
open
Royals
might
are.
mean bad. I think wide open means bad unless you're the NL West or the AL East right now.
I don't think it's bad. I think that the NL West is just so good and the AL East is very good and the NL East looks good. So there's like all these like great divisions. And then because these teams aren't off to like amazing starts or they aren't shattering exit velocity records or they don't have guys consistently just studding around, it's the wrong word, but you know what I mean.
Strutting around. Let me put it in a different way and see if you agree with this or not. I don't think there's a top 15 team in baseball in the American League Central.
I'd have to go through all the teams. I mean, you can't say that the Tigers right now are not top 15. Tigers fans they'll turn off the show
Okay,
instantly.
like all
Like
right,
they
fine, fine.
Royals, I think the Royals and the Tigers are both top 15. I mean, they're not top 10.
They're not top 10. So that's the
Yeah,
thing. Like you can
yeah,
say that clearly without going through. So it's like we're
yeah.
talking about a division that doesn't have a single top 10 team in baseball.
But outside of the White Sox, I don't think they even have a bottom 10 team either.
Yeah, no, I
The
don't think so.
Twins might be bottom 10.
The twin, I mean, it's just weird, but like I close my eyes and I see the 30th best team in baseball,
Yep.
and then I see teams that are hovering in the 14 to 19 range in
Are,
baseball.
are the White Sox worse than the Rockies? The
I
Rockies
mean,
are
we'll get to
horrific.
the Rockies. We'll get to the
Yeah,
Rockies.
we'll get to the Rockies. But yeah, last thing. I mean, Cole Reagans is so amazing.
Yeah, he's great.
That changeup is unbelievable. All
He's
right,
awesome.
let's go to the fighting fish. Marlins versus Nationals. Game one, Nationals win 7-4, and there was no scoring until the fifth. But Xavier Edwards broke the scoring open with a two-run single, and then Kyle Stowers added two more on a double. Josh Bell for the Nationals narrows the lead with his second home run of the year, a two-run shot, and then Nathaniel Lowe clears the bases in the eighth with a double, giving the Nationals a 5-4 lead. And James Wood adds the exclamation point with a rocket to left center for his fifth home run of the season. Takes a fastball low and in and just fucks on that baseball. That's the best way to describe it. And Alex Call follows that with an RBI triple in the ninth. Edward Cabrera, though, was solid in his first start. Five and
Yes, he
two
was.
thirds, two earned, five Ks, and Mitchell Parker got through six innings but allowed four runs, but only three of them were earned. Move to game two. Marlins win 7-6, a great game. Matt Mervis, fourth home run of the year, opens the scoring in the second, and then the Marlins add two more runs in the third, again on a Kyle Stowers sac fly and a wild pitch from Trevor Williams, which scored Graham Pauley. Nationals even the game up in the fourth on RBIs from Nathaniel Lowe and Josh Bell, but then the Marlins retake the lead in the fifth on RBI doubles from Eric Wagaman and Griffin freaking Conine. Ahmed Rosario, though, rips an RBI single in the sixth for Washington, but Kyle Stowers gets it right back with an RBI double to extend the lead to 7-4. Nationals grabbed two more runs in the seventh, but it wasn't quite enough. And you'd expect this game to be a pitcher's duel with Sandy Alcantara, of course, and Trevor Williams has been solid, but neither one of them were very effective. And in game three, Marlins take their anger out on the Nationals, winning 11-4. Jacob Young, though, opens the scoring with an RBI single for Washington, but then Griffin Conine took it right back with an RBI single of his own to tie the game at 1-1 after two innings. Nationals put up two in the fourth on RBI singles excuse me, from Paul DeYoung and Alex Call. And the Marlins get those runs back in the bottom half of the fourth. And the trend of RBI singles continues, this time from Jonah Bride and Javier Sanoa. Liam Hicks gives the Fish the lead with the sac fly in the seventh, and then Matt Mervis stamps the game with a three-run shot in the seventh, his fifth of the year. Marlins pile on in the eighth on RBI doubles from Otto Lopez and Kyle Stowers again, and then Griffin Conine again adds his second RBI single of the afternoon to make it 11-3. But also shout out Nathaniel Lowe, continuing the fight, driving it around on a single in the ninth. Marlins win; they win the series, move to 8-7. Nationals fall to 6-9. How about those Fish, Jack?
The fellas are swinging it, man. I mean, everybody's hitting right now. And there were a couple of guys that were going slowly, but like a guy like Eric Wagaman reached base 5 times on Sunday. Like he was 3 for 3 with a pair of walks, but like Griffin is hitting the crap out of the ball right now. Griffin Conine is hitting it as hard as anybody that I've seen on the Marlins or on opposing teams. Mervis is having an out of body experience right now. I mean, that guy, 5 homers in his last 6 days. He had a multi-homer day in Atlanta on Saturday. Then he had a homer against Edwin Diaz in the ninth on Wednesday. And then he homered on Friday and on Saturday and on Sunday. No, Friday and on Sunday. He sat Saturday. But dude, I mean, no, he sat Friday on Saturday and on Sunday. That's right. But this guy, like, he is dialed in right now. And Kyle Stowers is dialed in right now. He's acknowledging the blue zone. Like, the thing that is so impressive to me is Mackenzie Gore started on Sunday, right? First time Stowers saw Gore, Stowers struck out swinging on 3 pitches. And it was a four seam fastball at 96 miles an hour, up and in, 3 straight pitches. And that's where Kyle, like, that's where he struggles a little bit. That's what we saw in the minor leagues. That's what we saw in the major league sample last year. Like it's the elevated fastball that can be issues. Okay, hit that occasionally, but hit everything else. And right now, that guy is hitting everything else.
Mm.
Like Stowers, Conine, Mervis, those guys are drilling the baseball. And Xavier Edwards, I think, is one of the more underrated leadoff guys in Major League Baseball. Like that guy's on base all the time. He's 6 for 7 in the stolen base department already. Like this is a very fun team to watch right now.
It
Quick
is.
thing on Washington. James Wood is one of the best young players in Major League Baseball. That guy is a freak of nature. I had this going into Friday's game. James Wood coming into the series had 26 batted balls. 19 of them were on the ground. So he had 7 that were not on the ground. 4 of them were homers. It's unbelievable what this guy does.
So I really want to talk to you more about the Marlins, but real quick, you're going to think I'm an idiot. And honestly, I think I'm an idiot. Last episode with Aram, we were talking about buy or sell early starts.
Did you sell James Wood?
I did it to poke more at Aram, but I think there were some warning signs. I mean,
The ground ball rate's
yes,
high.
if he can elevate the baseball, it's unbelievable. But most of the time he's not. It's a 72% ground ball rate,
Yeah.
right? We were going over a couple other things, and I'm just like, I think he's going to go through peaks and valleys this year. And that's when I made the joke about I think he's going to have a below 850 OPS. And Arm was like, that's so he's like slightly below a top 20 hitter in Major League Baseball. And I was like, I feel like I actually have no understanding of OPS after I had that conversation with Aram. So I'm selling that he becomes a superstar this year. So I basically backtrack into saying he's not top 10 yet. And
Yeah,
I
he's
just I
no, I mean
realized
that's
going
totally
into it,
fair. He's not top 10 yet.
I realized going into it that why did I try to poke at Aram for no reason? That's what I came down to it.
So I think that it's fair to clump Wood in, and I think Chorio is starting to separate. But I mean, all this talk about Chorio and Langford this offseason, like you should be clumping James Wood in there when it comes to the next wave of stars coming. Like you think about the young stars in baseball, Ellie De La Cruz, Bobby Witt Jr., Gunnar Henderson. I think the guys in the wave behind that, Corbin Carroll is in that as
Oh
well.
yeah.
But the guys in the wave behind that are like Chorio and Wyatt Langford. I think James Wood is in that conversation, but I think Chorio is starting to separate from Langford and Wood.
Last thing, I want to ask you about the vibe in Miami right
It's
now because
amazing.
it has to be because you said one of the more fun teams to watch right now. I totally agree. Like Aram grew up in South Florida. He's a Marlins fan. You're
Yeah.
the radio guy for the Marlins. I have no affiliation with the Marlins outside of you guys. And yet here I am turning on Marlins Nationals to watch because I love watching the Marlins right now because it's a young team playing with nothing to lose. Am I reading that right?
Absolutely. They're scrappy as hell. And like what I love about the Marlins right now is they're making things happen. Their bullpen, like, dude, there are so many guys that I want to applaud Peter Bendix for seeing. Like
Mm,
Ronnie Enriquez looks awesome in that bullpen. Fauché was a guy that was picked up for relatively nothing. Fauché looks gross.
mm.
I mean, offensively, like think about the Matt Mervis for Vidal Brujan swap.
Yeah. Who would you rather have?
You grab Stowers and Norby for a guy that was optioned last year and Trevor Rogers. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing what he's done. Amazing. So the vibe is amazing. And what I will say is the Marlins are 5-2 after losses. And Mervis said
Mm,
something really interesting about that. You think they have the youngest roster in Major League Baseball. You would think, okay, the losses, it's okay. We play 162 of these. He said there's palpable frustration in the clubhouse after a loss, which is important. Like, you want to be pissed after losing a baseball game. And these guys, they show that they were pissed and they want to right the ship each time after they lose. And I love watching this team.
that's awesome. All right, let's move on to the fifth series Braves versus Rays. We're going to stay down there in Florida for game one. Rays win 6-3. Matt Olson opens the scoring with an RBI single, but Brandon Lau gets it back with a third inning, or in the third inning, excuse me, with a sac fly. Then Danny Jansen gives the Rays a 2-run lead with his first home run of the season. And then Christopher Morel follows that up with his first home run of the year in the sixth. And then Danny Jansen comes up big again in the sixth with an RBI single. The Braves battle in the eighth with home runs from Marcell Ozuna and Ozzie Albies. but Danny freaking Jansen added an insurance run in the bottom of the eighth on an RBI double to finish the game. Taj Bradley, that fastball is alien like. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned, 7 strikeouts. Looks like he's shooting that fastball out of a BB gun. Game two, Braves finally show up, win 5-4. Junior Caminero, though, opened the scoring with his second home run of the year, a solo shot, and then Jonathan Aranda stays hot, it adds to it in the third with a bases loaded walk to score the second run. Now, the Braves put up zeros until the seventh, where Sean Murphy hit his second home run of the season, a solo shot. And then Jonathan Aranda drives home another run on a single in the seventh, but the Braves keep fighting back for once. Ozzie Albies homers in the eighth, and Sean Murphy follows that up with his second home run of the game to tie it. And then Michael Harris hits a big time home run. They needed a big time hit in the ninth and gave the Braves a 2-run lead. But Jonathan Aranda stays hot. It's a solo shot in the bottom of the ninth, but it wasn't quite enough. But also, shout out Drew Rasmussen, another 5-inning shutout. ERA falls to 0.60. And then AJ Smith-Shawver allowed 2 runs over 6 innings with 7 strikeouts. And you think, all right, Braves are a good team. After a win like that, here they come, right? They're definitely going to win game 3. Michael Harris's hit is the one to send them in the right direction, Jack. Nope, Rays win 8-3. Didn't show up. Rays opened the scoring with 2 runs in the first. Yandy Diaz smashed a home run, and Jose Caballero drove in a run on a single. And then the Rays pile on 2 more runs in the fourth and the fifth of RBI singles from Coco Montes and Christopher Morel. Braves show some life in the sixth as Michael Harris gets a home run or gets a run home on a ground out, and then Matt Olson hits the hardest and farthest single ever, probably. He hit it 107 miles an hour at 366 feet. And on the field, it was called a single, and the call stood. It was not a home run, just a single, but it drove in the second run. And then Ozzie Albies brought home the third run on a single. But then the Rays just kicked the shit out of him. Followed it up with 4 runs in the sixth, highlighted by a Junior Caminero rocket home run that plated 3 runs. And Joe Boyle was awesome. Joe Boyle was awesome. 5 innings, 0 hits, 0 earned, 7 punch-outs, but he did allow 2 earned runs. Rays win, move to 7-8. Braves fall to 4-11.
It's hard to believe. Also, you said Joe Boyle, no earned runs, but allowed 2 earned
Or
runs.
excuse me, 2 runs
2 unearned
scored,
runs, right?
2
Yeah,
unearned runs, excuse me.
2 unearned runs. But yeah, I Atlanta being 4-11 is just really weird. And at some point they're going to start hitting, but the old adage you can't win a division in April, but you can lose a division in April. With the way Philly and the Mets have opened the year, like it's sort of trending like Atlanta may be close to losing a division in April. And you know, you're running out of time this month to start gaining ground. I understand that it's a really long season, and I think that there's, you know, very few teams in baseball other than the Atlanta Braves who could actually work their way back if they fall behind this quickly. But Atlanta can do that because they might, you know, they might have a month of July where they just don't lose. And I understand. Spencer Strider is currently the International League leader in strikeouts, like on a rehab assignment.
Yeah,
That
he
guy's
better be.
leading AAA in punchouts.
He better be. He's Spencer fucking
Yeah, but like
Strider.
usually the samples cut a little short because you're trying to get right. And Strider's like, nope, I'm trying to win the AAA Cy Young Award. It's like, okay.
So you talk about the Braves, and I'm glad they're bringing back Strider because this will follow into my point. You talk about the Braves not hitting, and they definitely aren't really hitting, right? They scored 3 runs in game 1, 5 runs in game 2,
3 in game 3.
3 in game 3. And when we look at the Braves' total runs scored this year, it's just 49 runs. That is 1 run below the Pittsburgh Pirates,
Yeah.
right? It's above the Rockies, good for you, and it's 1 run below the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
But the pitching has been horrible. Like outside of Schwellenbach, who's just, I mean,
Yeah.
as good as any pitcher in Major League Baseball, this bullpen ranks 18th in ERA, and their starter ERA ranks 22nd, and that's with Schwellenbach standing on his head. So it's everything is wrong.
Yeah, I think getting Strider back is really important, but they've also had just some weird divots in this whole thing. Like Sales had an uncharacteristic start to the year. Reynaldo Lopez just had a scope done, right? I mean, there's just a lot of things that are awry right now. I think when they get Strider back and you can actually lengthen out the front three to be Strider, Sale, and Schwellenbach, that can be murderer's row there. The bullpen is an interesting one. I don't know how deep that bullpen really is, but we'll see. I'm not going to overreact to Atlanta yet because they are Atlanta and they have this many names in their clubhouse right now. So I'm not ready to hover over the panic button right now. What I will say is Tampa's really interesting. And Tampa's doing the Tampa thing all over again. They kind of took a year off last year, but they're back. Who do you think their top three in OPS are among regular players?
Aronda's got to be up there. I mean, he's
Ronda's
been
number
on
one.
fire.
13 games. He's hitting 395 with an 1178 OPS.
Every single time I turn on a Rays game, Cam Meisner's hitting the ball hard somewhere.
Cam Meisner through 13 games is hitting 361 with a 1011 OPS.
So did I get the first two?
Yeah, I mean, Meisner has a 1011. The other guy has a 1011 OPS too.
All right, who's the third guy? It's not Junior.
No, Junior's playing well though, hitting
Yeah, he's
280
playing
with
well.
815.
Is it Morel?
It's not Morel. He's got a 738. Everybody in this lineup is hitting. Like the guy that was cold was Yandy Diaz, but that homer was shot out of a cannon. It's Jose Caballero. He's got a
Mm.
1011 OPS at this point. So if you were to tell me what 14, 15 games in, the Tampa's three best hitters by OPS were Jonathan Aranda, Jose Caballero, and Cam Meisner. Let's say how many games under 500 are they?
But then you factor in that they are all hitting it, and then it's even like, I mean, Brandon Lau's off to a good start. Junior Caminero, like we said, is off to a good start. Christopher Morel is a 129 WRC plus. Like they're hitting, and then they're
They're
pitching.
hitting.
Taj Bradley's been great. Drew Rasmussen's been great.
Again, they're doing the Tampa thing again.
Yeah, and it's a good team again. So the Braves, to be fair to them, they've had a terrible schedule so far. I mean, they went up against right the Padres, the Dodgers, and now you get the Rays who are playing good baseball, and you also
The
have to go to a
Fish,
AAA stadium. The
the Fighting
Marlins are
Fish.
playing good baseball, objectively so. They're 8-7. So I agree with you. We're not giving up on the Braves, but the reason I'm more concerned is that it's not just the Braves aren't hitting. Everything sucks. That's my issue. Is that the bullpen doesn't look great. The rotation doesn't look great. And the offense certainly doesn't look great. Like with the Braves, they're 14th, I think, in OPS right now. That's the best unit on the squad, is their offense, technically. That's not where you want to be right now if you're the Atlanta Braves. All right, before we get to our next series, we're going to talk Pirates Reds. But before that, our first break. Pirates versus Reds. This is going to be a short one because the Reds swept and it was pretty easy. Game one, Reds win 5-3. They put up 3 runs in the first on an RBI from Spencer Steer and a 2-run home run by Jeimer Candelario, his first of the season. Reds had 2 more in the fifth on a wild pitch from Bailey Falter, and then a throwing error by Endy Rodriguez allowed the second run to score. Pirates put up 3 in the fifth on an RBI double from Tommy Pham and Adam Frazier's first home run of the season, but it wasn't enough. Move to game two. Basically the same score. Reds win 5-2. Elly De La Cruz blasted a grand slam, his third home run of the season, to put the Reds up 4-0 in the third inning, and that was all they needed. Alexander Canario hit his first home run of the season for Pittsburgh in the fifth, and Emmanuel Valdez ripped an RBI double, but it just wasn't enough. Andrew Abbott, very solid. 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned, 5 strikeouts. Game 3, Hunter Green. That's the recap. Reds win 4-0. Santiago Espinal opened the scoring with a 2-run single of the third, and then TJ Friedel and Elly De La Cruz added RBIs in the fifth, and that was it. Hunter fucking Green. 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned, 1 walk, 8 Ks. ERA falls to 0.98. He has thrown 59 pitches over 100 miles an hour. All other starters combined have 5. Red sweep. Move to 8-8. Pirates fall to 5-11.
Yeah, not much raising the Jolly Roger going on right now, unfortunately.
No, they suck.
My
Like point
only
blank period, they suck.
point
And
blank period.
The
Yeah.
reason I'm saying that so plainly is that this Pirates team, I'm sorry, Pirates fans. I'm sorry they just didn't surround Paul Skeens with more talent. Jared Jones going down sucks. Like the rotation isn't that bad. It's just the offense is so bad. It's so bad, and it's the worst offense to watch, I think, in Major League Baseball because, and maybe that's my fault. I have some expectations. Like with the Rockies, they're obviously worse to watch, but I have no expectations. Like with the Pirates, I'm like, there's O'Neill Cruz here. There's Brian Reynolds here, right? There's even Tommy Pham. Like there are some good. They suck. They suck, and I'm sorry that your front office does not spend money to surround a talent like Paul Skeens with more. I'm sorry, but they suck.
I don't have much to add except for Hunter Green.
Oh,
Hunter Green since July 1st of last year. 13 starts, 80 and two-thirds innings, 35 hits. That's a 129 batting average against.
mm,
In 80 and two-thirds innings, he struck out 91 and has allowed 9 earned runs. That's a 1.00 ERA over his last 80 and two-thirds innings of work. This from Nugget Chef. Pitchers to allow 9 or fewer runs over a 13 start span in Major League history, minimum 75 innings. Hunter Green, dating back to July 1st of last year, Jacob DeGrom in 2021, Chris Sale in 2018, Jake Arrieta 2015 and 2016, Josh Johnson in 2010, and Bob Gibson in 1968. That's elite company. This is ace talk with Hunter Green. And you remember that thing we said about Hunter Green being an ace now in Major League Baseball?
hell yeah.
We're 2 starts removed from us doing that, and he's still ace talk. Like he's unfreaking believable. And there's no need to victory lap because the Reds already paid him, and he is without a doubt to me a top 10 pitcher in Major League Baseball. The way he's commanding that fastball, it's game over when he has that fastball on a string like he does.
It's 100, easy 100. He's
But it's
averaging
wherever he wants to put it.
that fastball. I was watching it live, and then I saw Pitching Ninja post it. That low and away 100-mile-an-hour heater to O'Neill Cruz. Speechless. Like I don't even have a take about it. Speechless. We posted it on our Instagram. Go check it out. It's like one of the best. I mean, that was a DeGrom fastball.
Yeah.
That's like at his peak. It's 100, 101 dotted. And I was so happy I got to see him in person for his opening day start against the Giants. Remember how good we're talking about the Giants are? He made them look like mincemeat. Just rammed his fastball right down their throats. He's throwing it 63% of the time. Opponents are hitting 188 against it. How about the slider, which he throws 28% of the time? Hasn't allowed a hit against it yet with a 60% whiff rate that he's throwing 88 miles an hour, and he just throws a splitter just for fun. He doesn't have to. He could just operate right now. I think he could get through lineups just throwing a heater. It's that good right now.
Probably. I mean, with the way he's executing that fastball, he could do that.
He is. He's probably the most entertaining watch right now on the mound. I mean, Michael King against the Rockies today was just so
Yeah. I mean,
awesome.
that's bullying. Like
But
if you want to see what bullying looks like in baseball, it was Michael King today.
but also Hunter Green against the Pirates. I mean, the Pirates
Yeah,
suck.
that was kind of
Yeah,
bullying too.
yeah, that was bullying. All right, let's move to Angels versus Astros and talk about bullying. The Astros bullied the Angels in game one. Astros win 14-3. And if you could believe it, the Angels had a 2-1 lead after the top of the fifth, aided by a Mike Trout home run and a Joe Adell RBI single. That didn't end well. Astros put up 6 in the fifth inning, 4 in the sixth inning, and then 3 in the eighth. Yainer Diaz just blew the game open in the bottom of the fifth with a grand slam, his first home run of the year. And then Yainer Diaz again delivers in the sixth with an RBI double to accompany RBI hits from Jeremy Pena and Cam Smith. And then Cam Smith shot out first career home run in the eighth inning, and Isaac Paredes hits his first home run of the year in the eighth as well. Astros demolish the Angels. But this ain't the old Angels who just lay down and let the Astros give it to them. Angels win game two, 4-1. Mike Trout opens the scoring with a 2-run single in the first to give the Angels a 2-0 lead. And then Nolan Shanwell hit his first home run of the year in the fourth, and Taylor Ward hit his fourth home run of the season in the fifth. Isaac Paredes homered again in the eighth, but it wasn't enough. because Tyler Anderson was awesome. 5 2/3, 1 hit, 0 earned, 6 punchouts. But in game three, the Astros win because of course they do. Taylor Ward and Nolan Shanwell homered again to open the scoring 2-0 Angels, but then the Astros put up a 5 spot in response in the bottom of the second. Started with Cam Smith and Mauricio Dubon RBI singles, and then Isaac Paredes homered again to make it 5-2. Jorge Soler hit a fucking rocket of a home run in the sixth, but RBIs in the sixth from Jeremy Pena and Jose Altuve just put the game out of reach. Shout out Hayden Wesneski. 6 innings, 3 hits, or excuse me, 3 earned, 10 punchouts from Hayden Wesneski. How about it? Astros win the series and move to 7-8. Angels fall to 9-6. 3 games over 500 for those fighting Angels.
The Kyron Parises. I love Kyron Paris, man.
Good seeing
Now,
Mike Trout back. That's just so much fun.
it is good seeing Trout back. Wesneski, like he's a sneaky, and it is funny that my one takeaway from the series is Wesneski. He was a sneaky ad in that Kyle Tucker deal. That looks like a mutually beneficial trade. Like you get Cam Smith, Kyle Tucker, you know what he's doing in Chicago right now, and we'll get to that. But I mean, Paredes, like he's a piece of the immediate future, and Cam Smith is a building block moving forward. Wesneski being a tertiary piece in that one
Yeah.
is a really good get. And Wisniewski was kind of running out of runway in Chicago. Like I know he was frustrating a lot of fans there, but this guy is from Houston. He's coming back home. He's pitching comfortable right now. And Wisniewski's got some stuff, man. I'm sure you remember him as a Yankee prospect,
Oh, yeah.
but he was traded for what, Efros straight up?
Great
Like,
breaking ball.
dude, it's a good breaking ball. So if that guy can recapture that, like he can be a serviceable back end starting pitcher for the Houston Astros while they need it.
I still don't know what to think of the Astros.
I don't know either. Like I'm them in Atlanta, I'm just opting out of right now.
Yeah, because we talked about it last year, right? The Astros, got off to a bad start, and I was ringing the bell like, "Do not give up on this team. Do not give up on this team." And I'm not giving up on the Astros. I just made a point earlier in an earlier episode this season where I'm not afraid of them anymore. I still think that they're a good team. Like I said, I think they'll finish with 85 wins. I think they'll be vying for the playoffs. Solid team, just not the big bad Astros anymore. And the
Yeah.
Angels just kind of had one of those series where you go into an angry Houston squad and they kind of take it out on you, and still just salvaging one of 3 games from that series. Angels fans just kind of toss this one over your shoulder and move on because I still think it's a pretty fine Angels team, especially when you're getting solid pitching performances. Yusei Kikuchi, solid. Hasn't been off to the greatest of starts this year, but he is a
Tyler
solid
Anderson,
pitcher.
more than
Tyler
solid.
Anderson, Jose Soriano. I even think Jack Kohanowicz is kind of an interesting young arm with that mid to high 90s sinker and a decent breaking ball. And then, of course, you got Kyle Hendricks just like tossing in batting practice. But
Who has a lower K rate? Kyle Hendricks or Kohanowitz?
it has to be Hendricks, please. Is it Kohanowicz?
I have no idea. I'm just thinking like by the end of the year because Kohanowitz was just not striking anyone out last
He's a
year.
ground ball guy. Yeah, he's
Jack,
not much of a strikeout guy.
Jack Kohanowitz last year, 65 and a third innings, he struck out 29 or 25. He struck
Oh,
out three and a half hitters per 9 innings last year.
what's it this year?
He's up to 5.2, 15 and two thirds, nine punch outs.
Where's Kyle Hendricks at?
Kyle Hendricks, let's see. Last year, Hendricks struck out six hitters per nine, 87 punch outs, so nearly double Kohanowitz. This year, 11 innings, eight Ks for Kyle Hendricks. So Kyle Hendricks has a higher K rate than Jack Kohanowitz.
So maybe I am just wrong about my Jack Kohanowicz's
Yeah,
line,
I
but
mean, it's a high speed sinker. Like, I understand the ground ball rate. You have to miss some bats, and he doesn't miss any bats.
yeah, you have to miss bats. But he gives you a chance to win every day. Like I think he's a 5 inning,
Yeah, I
3
mean,
runs
dude,
kind of guy.
he struck out 25 in 65 innings and had a 3.99 ERA at
Yeah.
that point. Like he's been off to a really slow start so far this year, but Kohanowitz, like I don't know if he's like a serviceable major league starter, but he's a major league starter.
I mean, here's the thing. Like I think Reed Detmers is better than most of them. Why?
Of course. Of
Yeah, but
course.
but he's a bullpen guy now. He needs to get out of Los Angeles. Like we'll talk about the Cubs later with Justin Steele going down. Like I would love for the Cubs to go out and just get Reed Detmers now. I would love for my Yankees to go out and get Reed Detmers, and the Carlos Carrasco show or the Marcus Stroman show can end whenever they want to, and I wish it
Oh,
was sooner rather than later.
yeah.
But There it is. All right, let's go over to Tigers versus Twins. Game one, Tigers win 7-6. Ty France opens the scoring in the second with an RBI single, but Gleyber Torres grabs it right back with an RBI single in the fifth. The Twins extend the lead to 4-1 in the fifth, started with an RBI single from Carlos Correa, and then Buxton grounded out, but it scored a run, and then Edouard Julien doubled to bring home another run. But the Tigers rally and take the lead back in the top of the sixth on RBIs from Zach McKinstry, Dylan Dingler, and Trey Sweeney. Colt Keith adds an insurance run in the seventh on an RBI single, and it was needed as Buxton homered to narrow the Tigers' lead to 6-5 in the seventh. But how about Javier Baez adding another RBI double in the eighth? And the Twins almost came back in the ninth, but only Ty France was able to get one run in, and the game was over. Now, I know the Tigers won, but shout out David Festa, solid in his 2025 debut, tossing 4 2/3 of one run and 4 strikeouts. Game two. Tigers blank them 4-0. Torque and Justin Henry Malloy brought home the Tigers' first 2 runs on sac flies, and then Torque crushed his 4th home run of the season, a 2-run shot to make the score 4-0 in the sixth, and that was it. Big start for Jackson Jobe. Huge.
Yeah.
6 innings, 2 hits, no earned. The punch-outs still aren't there for him, but he needed that start, I think, for his confidence, because in his first couple of starts, he looked okay, but I think this was big as he continues to improve. As still, I mean, he's 22 years old. He's going to continue to improve, but I thought that was a big start for him. Game three, Twins win 5-1, avoid the sweep. Buxton gets the scoring started with a missile of a home run in the first. Brooks Lee adds an RBI single in the second to push the score to 2-0, and that was all they needed. Now, Torkelson crushed his 5th home run of the year, but that was Detroit's only run. Edouard Julien hit his first home run of the season in the 6th, and then Ty France, great series, drove in a run with a single to push the score to 4-1. Matt Wallner's RBI double in the 8th put the game just completely out of reach, and Casey Mize struggled for the first time this season, but Simeon Woods Richardson tossed 5 innings of 1-run ball with 5 strikeouts. Tigers improved to 9-6. Twins fall to 5-11. Is it crazy to say that I have no takeaways from the series? It just kind of happened.
No, this is one of the series that I kind of like opted out of this this weekend, I will say. But
I was turning it on, intermittently, and I was just like, I know the Tigers are better. The Twins just kind of stink. It was good that Jackson Jobe had that start. Tigers just beat a worse team as they should. The Tigers are better than the Twins, at least
yeah,
definitely right now. We'll see how the season unfolds, but I think comfortably, even Twins fans would be like, yeah, the Tigers are probably better than us.
yeah.
And you won 2 out of 3. And then the Twins salvage a win. Casey Mize struggles. It's going to happen. He went off to a heater, and he wasn't even that bad. He was just had a third start struggle. Simeon
Yeah.
Woods Richardson was fine. Series over. Like, I just don't have a ton here.
So my big takeaway here, Brooks Lee was activated off the 10-day IL and Jose Miranda was optioned. I was convinced that Jose Miranda has already been optioned like 6 times. I was floored to see that he had an option left.
I'm surprised that he's not that good. Like, I think he's
I
got a
understand.
good
I
bat.
I understand what you're saying. It is crazy. Like I was just floored that he was optioned again, and like Julian might get optioned at some points. There are so many guys in Minnesota, and this is why I opt out of any opinion on the Minnesota Twins ever. There are so many guys that are in the Minnesota Twins wrinkle that I've been really high on at one point, and then they just kind of dissipate. Like Edouard Julien, I was really high on at one point. Brooks Lee, I know there's still time, but like I was really high at one point. Royce Lewis, like everybody was super high, still is whenever he's on the field. Buxton, all these guys, man. Miranda. I was like, I love watching this guy hit. And then he just got optioned for the 3rd time.
Go to the rotation. We've been really high on Joe Ryan. We've been really high on Pablo Lopez. We've been loving Bailey Ober,
I,
right? We talk about their bullpen, and then it's just like they're not
I
that
don't
good.
know. Like, I just don't know how to read the Minnesota Twins. So I'm never going to try reading the Minnesota Twins again.
I mean, I told you this is my last time latching onto the Twins because you and Arm have done it a lot, gotten burned, and I haven't really gotten burned yet. And now it's my time to get burned. That's just what's happening. Now it's
Yeah.
my time to get
We're,
burned.
we're taking turns. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
great. By the way, last thing on this series, It's funny we're talking about Javi Baez like he's having some sort of career renaissance, and he has
He
a
is.
695 OPS.
That is a career renaissance for Javier Baez.
It might be, but I'm just like, we should be talking about this guy like we are talking about this guy like he's at like an 850 OPS through 2 weeks, and he's just not.
695 for Javier Baez is the equivalent to an OPS over 1,000 for like a really good player.
Yeah, I think you're right.
How about torque though? Damn. God,
Yeah,
the
Torque
only
is,
reason that's not another takeaway is like I think last week I think we talked about torque in every episode.
yeah,
So that's why I was like, do you want me to just say everything again about how great and
not
awesome he
really.
was? I'm posting it all over my Twitter. I can't get enough of torque.
Yeah, no, I think we're good. We can talk about Sacramento.
All right, let's talk about Mets versus A's. Game one. Mets win 7-6. Brandon Nimmo opens the scoring with his third home run of the year, and then Luis Torrens followed that up with an RBI double to give the Mets a 2-run lead. Miguel Andujar grabs a run back with an RBI single in the bottom of the second, but then the scoring started up again in the fifth as Pete Alonso doubled to bring home Juan Soto, and then came up again in the sixth and grabbed a sac fly, and then Starling Marte drove the rest of them home with a 2-run double to push the lead to 6-1 Mets. Now the A's rally in the sixth off RBI singles from Jacob Wilson and then Miguel Andujar's first home run of the year. They pull within two. But then Pete Alonso, the polar bear, comes up big again in the eighth with his fourth home run of the season, a solo shot. But the A's fight all the way back. And it starts with the Shea Langeliers RBI double and then a JJ Bleday sac fly. But Edwin Diaz, just walking that tightrope, is able to close it out after allowing 2 runs. He's been a problem lately. Have you noticed that? I'm saying it kind of like this because it's something that'll likely pass, but his velo is down. This doesn't look like the same Edwin Diaz. And my team in New York is dealing with Devin Williams. He sucks too. It's like, I don't know what's going on with these elite closers right now. Just weird blips in the same city.
Relievers are volatile.
Yes,
A
they are.
major league reliever is the most volatile position in sports.
Yes, yes, it is. I was running
Kickers,
back,
kickers,
kickers.
kickers and relievers. That's the
Yeah,
most volatile position in sports.
that'd be a fun like group. Like get all the kickers and all the relievers in one big party and just see what they talk about.
Yeah, what's your mental health like?
Yeah.
Like, how secure are you in your job?
Game two, A's win 3-1. A's opened the scoring in the fourth on RBIs from Tyler Soderstrom and JJ Bleday, and that was all they needed. Now, Brandon Nimmo did hit another home run, but it was the Mets' only run of the game. Johnny Peralta added an RBI double in the seventh for insurance.
Johnny
Shout out.
Peralta. It's not Johnny Peralta.
What did I write down? I'm so used to Johnny Peralta on
I
the.
think it's Johnny Pareda. Is that who you're talking about?
It might be Johnny Pareda. I wrote down Johnny Peralta because, well,
Johnny Pareda. Johnny Peralta was he the one that was wearing like the pants kind of like the bottom of his cleat were spiked into his pants on the heel. You know what I'm talking about? Or was that Ronnie Belliard? I'm gonna pull it up and I'll figure it out.
I almost made it through all 10 of my series without a name correction. I was doing really well.
Johnny Peralta, that's so good. He had to retire like 10 years ago.
Legend. Shout out JT Ginn. 5 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned, 6 strikeouts in his 2025 debut, and picks up the win. This is an exciting pitcher. He was dicing people in the minor leagues. And this was a guy where, even in the offseason, like I think it was Lawrence Butler, it was definitely somebody on the A's that's good. And they were asked the question, who's the most underrated player on the A's? And he goes, JT Ginn. And I was like, hmm. And then I watched him today and I was like, that sinker plays. Like, this could be a pretty good arm here for the no city designation. Athletics. All right, let's move to game three. Mets win 8-0. No scoring until the sixth, as Luis Torrens opened it up, though, with an RBI single to give the Mets the lead, and then they added two in the seventh, an RBI double from Francisco Lindor, and a bases loaded walk from Mark Vientos. Mets got another on a wild pitch in the eighth, and in the ninth, Mark Vientos crushed a double to drive in a run, and Luis Torrens did the same, driving in Vientos, and then Brett Beatty then tripled to drive in Torrens, and then Tyrone Taylor reached on an error from Jacob Wilson to score Beatty to make it 8-0. Kodai Senga, 7 innings, 4 hits, no earned, 4 strikeouts. ERA falls to 1.06 in about 20 innings of work this season. He has been so good for New York, and it's so good to see him back healthy after just 4 innings last season. And Severino against his former team, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned, 6 punchouts. Mets win the series. Did you see that report that Luis Severino would have taken a 2-year, $40 million deal to the New York Mets?
That was really weird. And then they offered him what they offered Montas, where it was 2 for 34, and he opted for the more expensive deal with Sacramento.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Mets didn't just give him the 6 extra million. I guess they're penny pinching over there.
I'm also I'm also surprised that Sevy made that public.
I am very surprised that Sevy made that public. Like
Yeah,
that's like talking about an ex-girlfriend in a
it's
way.
telling on yourself too. It's like, well, they
Like
were
I would have taken less. I didn't really want to go to the
yeah,
A's.
exactly.
That's,
I'm like, what are you doing here?
I totally would have gone back if they just
Yeah,
gave me a little
I
bit
would have
more.
stayed in the relationship.
But
Yeah,
unfortunately, I had to take the deal with the A's. I mean,
so good.
that's kind of
It's just it was just a really weird situation there.
yeah.
I will say game three really upset me because not only did Jacob Wilson not get a hit, but he struck out as well. So Jacob Wilson, his what, 14 game hitting streak, 15 game hitting streak to open the year was snapped.
Mm.
And it was his third strikeout. So now he has 3 punch outs and 61 plate appearances. I freaking love that guy.
Oh my God. I mean,
Jacob Wilson's awesome. Soderstrom's awesome. Kurtz has 7 homers in AAA at this point. Like, I'm getting A's fever. I don't know what's going on here.
I think it's wild that Wilson like has not really stopped hitting close to 400 like since he was at Grand Canyon. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
I
just like
know.
he was at Grand Canyon, he hits like 400, then goes to the minors, just hits 400, and then starts the year with a 15 game hit streak. Like this guy is just gonna hit forever. We just get to watch it every day. It's awesome,
It's
and
just
it's
nuts.
it's so weird to see such a young guy with such little experience look so professional so early. Like the bat to ball is so good so early already. He didn't even have a blip. Like you're a rookie. You're supposed to struggle a little bit. Nope.
Yeah.
And we're talking about this game where he snapped his hit streak and struck out for the third time, and we're disappointed. This is a rookie.
Right.
Like this isn't supposed to happen. So I totally agree with you. A's fever. Brent Rooker's playing games in right field. You know what that means? Here comes
Kurtz.
Nick Kurtz, who's
Kurtz.
just annihilating the PCL right now. I know it's the PCL, so it's a lot easier to
No, I
get
mean,
there.
7 homers in a
But
week and a half is 7 homers
I mean, yeah,
in two
that's what I
weeks
was
or
gonna
whatever it is.
say. That's what I was gonna say. He could be playing on Jupiter with
Yeah.
that gravity. Or is that a?
I think Jupiter has like a strong gravitational pull. I
So
don't
what
think
would
the
it
ball
be?
would fly on Jupiter. I think
Would it be
it
like
would
Mars? What is not a lot
yeah,
of gravity?
I think
The moon.
Mars.
I could have
Also,
just gone
by
with the
the
moon.
way, I could have been a total jerk there and corrected you on JT Ginn, but I let you go with JT Ginn. So there you go.
He's feeling so good.
Let me look
I
up
love,
Jupiter's
I love,
gravitational
I
pull
love
now.
how. But can we talk about this for a second? You're like, I was gonna let you go. Like you're giving yourself credit, but you
I'm a
still
nice
got me.
guy.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
a nice
such a
guy.
nice guy.
Jupiter's surface gravity is approximately 2.5 times that of Earth. So that means the ball would not be flying. Instead, a
Hmm.
fly ball that's hit about 400 feet would end up going about 150 feet.
All right, the moon. Is
Yeah,
that
I mean
correct?
the moon's
Yeah,
fine. You could play
like
on the moon.
should have
We
just
know
said
that
the
one.
moon. I got to be very particular with my words with Jack over here. With Jack over here and his vocabulary. All right, let's move. Let's move to my last. Let's move to my last series of the weekend before I just hand it off to you, and then I get to talk shit to you. All right, Rockies versus Padres, game one. I mean, this year, the Rockies were horrific. Game one, the Padres went 8-0. Jose Iglesias opens the scoring with an RBI single in the fifth, and then Elias Diaz joins the party with a 2-run single to make it 3-0. Padres just weren't done. Same inning. Bad throw by catcher Hunter Goodman allows Tatis to record his sixth stolen base of the year and allows Elias Diaz to score. And then Manny Machado scorches a ground rule double to bring home Tatis. But all they really needed was Jose Iglesias just getting that RBI single early because they completely shut him out. I mean, Tatis and Gavin Sheets both homered in the sixth and seventh inning. Padres just beat the living shit out of him, and Nick Pivetta just shoved his fastball down their throats. 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned 10 Ks. ERA is down to 1.59. I want to say, look at Nick Pivetta. Like, this is going to be a real thing all year. I can't have any takeaways against the Rockies. They look horrible. Horrible. Game two, Padres win 2-0. Only scoring came on another Tatis home run and Jason Hayward's first home run of the year. Kyle Hart made them look like little leaguers. 6 innings, 1 hit, 0 earned, 4 strikeouts. Their only hit against Kyle Hart, it should have been caught. Kyle Farmer hits a pop fly and it just drops in between, like in that triangle, in between the center field, the left fielder, and the shortstop. And like, congratulations on your one hit. The one shining light in this Rockies series was Chase Dollander.
Hmm.
5 2/3, 3 hits, 2 earned, 7 punchouts against that offense. Legit start. And then they face Kyle Freeland, and then the Padres just put up 6 runs. They win 6-0 in game three. I mean, the game was over after the first inning. Padres score 4 on RBIs from Oscar Gonzalez, Yuli Gurriel, and Jose Iglesias. Then Tatis and Hayward both added RBIs later in the game, but this was just the Michael King show. He made them look below Little League. T-ball. 9 innings, 2 hits, no earned, 8 Ks. The first time the Rockies have been shut out 3 times in a row ever. The Padres become the second team in Major League history to notch 6 shutouts in its first 16 games, joining Cleveland in 1966. The Padres have the best record in Major League Baseball. Excuse me. They improved to 10-0 at home to start the year. They have the best run differential in baseball. This is the best team in baseball right now, the San Diego Padres.
Whoa. All right. It helps that they ran into the Colorado Rockies.
It still
It,
counts. Like right now, they have the best record. They have the best run differential. They're undefeated at home. They've beaten other good teams. Right now, they're the best team in baseball.
all right. So the 1966 Cleveland Indians had 155 innings from Louis Tiant at a 2.79 ERA. Sudden Sam McDowell had a 2.87 ERA in 194 innings. He led the American League in strikeouts. And Sonny Seibert was 16-8 with a 2.8 ERA in 241 innings. That's the other team. This from AJ Casavel of MLB.com, who covers the Padres. The Padres shut out the Rockies all weekend. They are the first team to hold an opponent scoreless for a series of 3 or more games since Cleveland over Kansas City in 2017.
Hmm.
Michael King did the honors Sunday, his first career shutout. The Padres are 10-0 at Petco Park this year. That ballpark is alive right now. And you asked me about the vibes in Miami. The vibes in San Diego might be the only place where the vibes are better.
Yeah, I mean, because this Padres team, they're just operating on all fronts. The offense is explosive. They're sixth in OPS. Now, the starting rotation, they're 17th in ERA, but Dylan Cease has an ERA at 7.98 and Kyle Hart's at 5.40. Michael King's at 4.05. That's not going to hold. But the fact is they're 13-3 with the rotation not pulling its weight. And the bullpen is just, I mean, maybe the Dodgers have a better bullpen. Maybe the Guardians do, but the Padres bullpen is as good as any bullpen in baseball. And Tatis looks like an MVP candidate. Manny Machado is standing on his head. Gavin Sheets is still a monster, and Xander Bogaerts is still doing pretty solid. There's not a lot of depth here, but it just doesn't really matter. And then also, it's not really their fault that both Jake Cronenworth and Jackson Merrill are on the IL, and they're still 13-3. I mean, this is a force to be reckoned with.
Yep. No doubt, man.
And I think the Rockies are the worst than the White Sox.
Maybe,
I mean,
but
they're
I love him. Dolander, hive, stand up.
so I bet on Kyle Hart over 4.5 strikeouts. He didn't get there. I look like an idiot. I'm gonna shove whatever. And then I watched the Michael King start. It's I know I keep harping on this, but I can't believe how bad they are. I mean, every single at bat is horrific. I mean, Tovar, he's getting out, but he'll put up like a 10 pitch AB, and I'm like, oh, that was the best AB of the game from the Rockies. I mean, Ryan McMahon couldn't hit water if he fell off a boat. Chris Bryant's doing nothing. And then you just go down the line, it's auto strikeouts every single time. It's uh, uh, I it pisses me off when we get horrific baseball. That makes me mad. Like horrific baseball. And I'm not even like watching a bunch of young guys like they just called up Ariel Amador. I hope that ends up going well. There's just not even I'm not even excited.
When they run out a team of, I don't know, like I'm just thinking what their roster could look like in a very fun way. And of course, I'm a diehard Rockies fan. Like Goodman and Stallings as a catching tandem has minimal sex appeal. Tolia is actually like kind of interesting to watch, although
No,
everybody's
he's not.
been
He's
he's
like
been
he's
bad.
Nolan Gorman adjacent. He
I
misses
know
the
he's
ball
been
by
really bad.
4 feet every single swing.
I understand. I understand. He's got an 8 WRC plus right now, by the way. Chris Bryant has a 1 WRC plus right now. McMahon's not interesting. Tovar, Doyle, Veen, Amador. Like, I'm just wondering who in AAA they can turn to make this more fun. Yankiel, I guess. Keston Hira. It might be time for Keston Hira to make the Rockies.
Could be time for Keston Hira. That would get
Could
me
be
a little
time.
bit more excited. Before we get to your five, let's take our last break.
Okay, my five. Let's start with Philly and St. Louis. Game one went to St. Louis. They ended up winning this series 2 games to 1, by the way. 2-0. The Cardinals won game one. Only 2 runs were in the bottom of the fifth because of a Yohel Pozo RBI double as part of a 3-hit day for him, and Alec Burleson had a bases loaded walk. Aaron Nola, 5 innings, 2 runs. He walked four. Andre Palante, the big story. 7 shutout innings, 2 hits, 4 Ks. The ground ball special. I love watching Palante pitch, man. Game
Yeah.
two, 4-1 Philly. They get the middle game. Nick Castellanos was 3 for 4, including a 2 run double. Bryson Stott had an RBI double as well. Christopher Sanchez, 6 in the third innings, 1 run, and just 3 strikeouts. He was pitching to contact ground ball machine as well. And the Philly bullpen, Orion Kerkering, Jordan Romano, Jose Alvarado, with the final 2 and 2/3 scoreless. Game three, St. Louis wins the rubber match 7-0. Homers from Wilson Contreras and Jordan Walker. Contreras, Donovan, Arenado, Gorman, and Pozo all doubled. It was a double party for St. Louis. No extra base hits for Philly in that one. It was a dominant showing from the Cardinals. Zach Wheeler, St. Louis got to him. 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs. And Liberator on the heels of Palante 48 hours earlier. 6 scoreless innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. Who would have thought that the two best starts in this series would belong to Andre Palante and Matthew Liberator when the Phillies are involved?
Libby looked good.
Libby always looks good early.
I know.
I don't know if the starting pitching thing is going to work. They've tried it obviously for the last like 3 years. They always build him up as a starter, and then they have the fullback of him going to be a setup guy adjacent, like he's a lefty seventh inning guy. I want to see it work with Libby because obviously, like we were obsessed with Libby when he was coming up, and we were obsessed with Libby when he was in Tampa for a little bit there. I mean, the promise has always been there, and it feels like a Kmart Mackenzie Gore thing with the hype that we gave to a lefty. But I want to see it happen 2, 3 more times. This Libby looked great in the clips that I saw.
And that's why I didn't want to take my take any further on Matthew Liberatore. I just wanted to say he looked good. I don't want to build on it. I got to see more. But my takeaway here is that the Cardinals kind of remind me of the Blue Jays. Like they're like the National League Blue Jays in the sense that they're a team nobody really cares about and everybody's just kind of leaving them for dead. They're not a young, exciting up and coming team. They're not one of the favorites. They're just a team that can beat you.
Yeah.
And this team hasn't even seen Wilson Contreras gotten going. He's been terrible since he's moved over to first base. He's striking out 38% of the time. He's walking 3.5%. He's got a 9 WRC plus. It hasn't been any good. But you know what has been good is Loris Newbar, Brendan Donovan, even Arenado is playing good baseball. Pedro Pajes has been good. Jordan Walker just went yabo in that last game. Thomas Sagasi has come up and has been awesome, putting an OPS up near 1100. Victor Scott's been an above average hitter while playing good defense. And then the rotation, like outside of Miles Michaelis, like there are guys that can win you a ball game any given start. And then the bullpen, when you got Helsley, Maton, and JoJo Romero at the back end with some other solid guys. I mean, Ivan Herrera is on the shelf right now. Like this is a pretty good team. I don't know how it's going to end up this season, but it's not a team I'm just going to leave there to die. Like I think they can compete, especially in this division.
I wouldn't be shocked if they finish second. I would be a little surprised with how good the Cubs look if they won the division,
Yeah,
but
they're not going to win the division.
We were having this conversation in spring training like, "Hey, are you stunned if St. Louis wins the division?"
No,
No, on paper it's like a fine enough roster to win a division and the second worst division in baseball, only ahead of the American League Central, and I stand on that. By
yeah,
the way, Sajazi.
such jerk. No, but
Next
it's true.
series.
I gotta get it right. It's so funny too because when I read it, right, I'm on Fangraphs Roster Resource. Like I hear it on the broadcast, I know what it is, and then I read it, and all of that goes out the window.
Yeah, Thomas Segis, is that right?
Yeah, it's like, damn it, I'm literally watching him, and I fuck it up when I read it.
So funny. Jell-off. All right, let's go to
No,
the south side of
that was
Chicago.
proven wrong. That is fake news. That did not
What do you
happen.
mean? You
I,
said Jell-off.
no, I say Zach Geloff every time. That was the
Yes, but you
one.
said it the first time. You said Jell-off the first time.
Maybe you're right. I don't accept it though.
You did. You did. And I've got a story about that one, and
Because
I will
maybe I
tell
read it
you.
wrong.
I won't tell you on the podcast, but I have a story about Jell-off Geloff that I will tell you.
Great. All right.
All right. Let's go to Chicago here. This was the White Sox and the Red Sox, and oh, what a series this was. White
Yes, it
Sox
was.
doubled their win total. 11-1, game one, the White Sox took. Sox did it without a homer. It was a three-hit day from Michael A. Taylor, otherwise known as Matt, and a multi-hit day from Lenyn Sosa and Brooks Baldwin. Sean Newcomb allowed 6 runs, just 2 were earned in 4 innings plus. Davis Martin, kick change, stand up. 6 innings, 1 run, and 6 punch outs for Martin. Game two, White Sox win again. Walk-off single by Brooks Baldwin in the bottom of the ninth inning. Red Sox got a good start from Richard Fitz, who's like legit good. 5 scoreless innings, 2 hits, 5 Ks. Aroldis Chapman took the loss. Luis Robert had a 2 run homer in that one. Game three, Red Sox salvage. They avoid the sweep, a 3-1 win. Trevor Story, 3 for 4 with a 2 run double and a solo homer. But that wasn't the story in this one. The story was Garrett Crochet returning to the South Side and being amazing. 7 1/3, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, and 11 punch outs. He was perfect through five. He was no hit through 7 1/3. He allowed a single. He was lifted, and the Red Sox bullpen allowed the run to come in, and that was charged to him. It was one of the best starts that we've seen in Major League Baseball this year, and Crochet took it to his former employer. That was a sight to behold.
One thing before we talk about Garrett Crochet, unfortunately, Richard Fitz, after that start, shoulder injury, was put on the IL, and the corresponding move, the Red Sox select Michael Fulmer. So it
Oy.
does suck because you were talking about Fitz, and I couldn't agree with you more. Just to get a snag like that really sucks. I hope he ends up being okay. But Garrett Crochet, I mean, I was getting ready to get up off the couch and start like filming a
Pacing.
TikTok video about how this was going to be a no hitter. I mean, I was fully sold. This guy, the only reason I was like, maybe it won't be a no hitter is because he was just throwing fastballs. I mean, of course, he's mixing in the cutter and, the sinker and the changeup and the sweeper and all that. But this was 52% four seam fastballs that he was blowing by the White Sox. Now, it is the White Sox, of course. So it's like, how cool is it? But at the end of the day, it's his former team and he looked angry. Like, this is the Garrett Crochet that I thought we were going to get. And now he's been good to start, but he hasn't shown it like this. And it's the fastball overpowering guys. He looked just unhittable. How about shout out Chase Mydroth though? Broke up the no hitter the guy he traded for. He's been a little spark plug for the White Sox in the Chase Mydroth era. They're not that bad.
Mydroth, they are not that bad in the
They're not
Chase Mydroth era.
that
This guy has been, he's been solid so far, man. He's already walked 3 times. He hasn't punched out once. I mean, good for Mydroth, man. That's what he does. He was the best on base threat in all of minor league baseball last year, but that is a series win for the White Sox against the Boston Red Sox. Okay,
One quick
let's,
thing. One
yeah,
quick thing. I don't want to overshadow Shane Smith's start because while Garrett
Shane's,
Crochet was awesome, like Shane Smith, 6 innings, just 2 earned runs allowed, and he's been continuing this. I mean, he's got a 2.04 ERA. The White Sox have some fun players.
yep. By the way, a pec strain for Richard Fitz was the
Oh, that's what
official
it's
thing, not
labeled.
a shoulder. It was a pec strain. He's on the 15-day
Oh, I'm
IL.
so sorry.
It's okay, dude. Listen, that's not a correction there. I just wanted to tell the listener what was going on. Okay.
I'm still offended because I'm sensitive about stuff.
Whatever. I understand. And I'm a jackass. I get it. Okay. Arizona, Milwaukee in Arizona. This was a series win for the Diamondbacks, and they needed it. 7-0 Milwaukee won game one. It was a 3-hit day for Bryce Terang, a multi-hit day for Joey Ortiz. Jose Quintana in his Brewers debut, 7 shutout innings with just 2 Ks, just pitch to contact, soft contact. Quintana, after that win against Arizona, has now beaten all 30 MLB teams. The only other active guys that have done that, Garrett Cole, Charlie Morton, Max Scherzer, and Justin Verlander. Jose Quintana, welcome to the Beat All 30 Club. Game two, 5-4 Arizona. This was a heck of a game. Down 4-0 in the bottom of the ninth, Arizona got an RBI triple from Alec Thomas, a two-run double from Corbin Carroll to cut the deficit to one, an RBI single from Jake McCarthy to tie it, and a walk-off sacrifice fly from Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Five-run comeback in the bottom of the ninth. They entered the bottom of the ninth trailing 4-0. Jackson Chourio homered off Corbin Burns, who allowed 3 runs in 6 innings against his former team. Chad Patrick stand up 4 1/3 shutout, but Joel Payamps and Trevor McGill blew it in the ninth. By the way, Arizona went Burns for 6 and Ryan Nelson for 3. That's a recipe for success and saving the bullpen. And they saved it for game three. William Contreras homered in a 2-hit day. It was 5-2 Arizona the winner. Bryce Terang, Corbin Carroll, Josh Naylor all had multi-hit days. Zach Gallen, 6 innings, 2 runs, quality start for him. Freddie Peralta, 5 1/3, 2 runs. He walked 4. The thing that impressed me most about that game, I mentioned Martinez and Puck. I mean, they've got some good stuff going on. Justin Martinez, AJ Puck through the eighth and ninth inning. Puck in the eighth, Martinez in the ninth. No hits. They K'd 5 between the two of them in the eighth and ninth. That was shut down. Arizona needed a series win. They got a series win.
I can't believe how hard Corbin Carroll hits the ball at his size.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got one of the highest hard hit rates in Major League Baseball. I feel like he's popping a 110 exit velo every single game. His average exit velocity right now is 95.8 miles an hour. Shouldn't be happening from a guy with that small of a frame. But again, this is showing what I think even the right when Aram made him the number one prospect and we were talking about him at length, talked about him with rookie of the year. Remember when Jordan Walker originally got called up and then Corbin Carroll's rookie of the year odds went up a little bit and we were like, "Oh my god, we're hammering this. What are you talking about? Corbin Carroll's amazing." Wins rookie of the year, has a little bit of a shoulder issue, still just battles through it. And then this year, he looks healthy and he's one of the best players in baseball because he affects the game on the base pass, he affects the game on defense. But there's few hitters in baseball better than this guy also.
Yeah.
That's really my one takeaway outside of the fact that the Diamondbacks, how many times can we come from behind and win? I mean, it's amazing, but I'm like, how many times can we do it? It's every game, it feels like.
Snakes alive, man. I mean,
Snakes
it's been
alive.
a thing for the last year and a half.
And
Snakes
the
alive.
and the fact that they're doing it right now without Ketel Marte is enormous because Ketel
It is.
Marte is going to come back and this team is just going to keep hitting. Pavin Smith going into the 3 hole, Josh Naylor, pulling his weight, in the 4 hole, and it's just a good offense. It's just a
Yes, it
great
is.
team.
Yes, it is, man. Great, great team. All right, let's go to Texas and Seattle here. Two more series. Game one in Texas and Seattle. In Seattle, went to the Mariners as part of a sweep. Texas got swept, man.
Yeah.
5-3 Mariners the win. Josh Young, 2 for 4 with a homer and 3 driven in. He provided the only run production for Texas. Jorge Polanco, 3 for 4 with a homer. Rowdy Tellez and Cal Raleigh also homered. Bryce Miller, 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. Jacob DeGrom, man, like 4 innings, 3 runs, 4 walks, and he allowed 2 homers. Seattle won it with 2 in the eighth on that 2-run Raleigh homer. Game two, 9-2 Seattle en route to the sweep. Julio, Raleigh, Rayleigh, Mastroboni multi-hit days for Seattle. Young, Adolis, Seager, and Josh Smith multi-hit days for Texas. It was a fun offensive day all around. Raleigh doubled and homered again. Kumar Rocker in 3 1/3 innings, 4 runs. Brian Wu was the man in this one. 7 innings, 1 run, and he K'd 7. Game three, Seattle completes the sweep in Seattle fashion 3-1. Cal Raleigh homered in every game this series. So homers 3, 4, and 5, a Raleigh homer. Logan Gilbert was doing Logan Gilbert things. 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. He struck out 7. He allowed a homer to Dustin Harris. Solo shot. That was just about it. Seattle got there via pitching. Obviously, they allowed 6 runs in 3 games. But if Cal's going and dude, like Jorge Polanco's swinging it this year in a way that he was not swinging it last year, like he had a really nice weekend too. I, I'm not buying what Seattle's doing, but like they needed that. And Texas, I don't know what DeGrom, I don't know what they're getting from DeGrom. Like we have this Minnesota conversation. I understand Texas is the biggest swing that there is in Major League Baseball. They could win the World Series. They could be a fourth place team in that division. DeGrom is huge when it comes to that. I don't know what they're getting, so I don't know where Texas is going to be.
Jacob DeGrom is making me very nervous. We saw him in his first start, 5 innings of shutout baseball against the Red Sox, was touching 98 miles an hour. It wasn't quite the DeGrom that we're used to, 101, 100, but it was still good to see him come out and have a successful start against a pretty good offense in the Red Sox. And then he goes up against the Rays, and he's 97, 96 miles an hour, doesn't look quite right, gives up 4 runs in 5 2/3, and we're all thinking to ourselves, we'll give Jacob DeGrom a break. He has earned it, right? His velo is going to be up in his next start. He's going to dominate this Mariners team in T-Mobile Park. It's the easiest spot to pitch in Major League Baseball against a below average offense. DeGrom's going to shove. And then he's sitting 95, 96 and allows 3 earned in 4 innings against this Mariners team. That's not the DeGrom that we know and love. As baseball fans, we expect DeGrom to just be the most talented, best pitcher in baseball as long as he's healthy. And this is the first time where I'm thinking to myself, I don't think this is the same Jacob DeGrom anymore.
I
Yeah.
think I'm there with you. I don't
I
feel
like that
comfortable
pause, though.
acknowledging
The
it.
pause was important.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable acknowledging it, but
I know.
I don't know. It's just weird and like he threw what? He made 2 starts last year off of Tommy John?
He has a 20% strikeout rate right now.
Yeah, that is the unbelievable thing to me. Like last year in 10 and 2/3, he struck out 14 and walked one. This year in 14 and 2/3, he struck out 13 and walked six. I'm like, where is that pinpoint DeGrom? Like, even when DeGrom in 64 and a third innings in 2022 walked eight, he struck out 102 and walked eight. In 30 innings in 2023 with Texas, he struck out 45 and walked four, then 14 Ks and one walk. And now it's like 6 walks and 14 and 2/3. That's the thing that jumps out to me. But the velocity is a little bit down. He's been getting hit. I don't know what's going on right now. And I'm not ready to make a sweeping claim on him, but I understand why you're getting very nervous about him.
And again, it's all about expectations, right? I'm not saying Jacob DeGrom falls off a cliff and he's terrible now. I'm just saying we can't expect elite Mets level DeGrom and just give him the benefit of the doubt that as long as he's healthy, he's going to be elite.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not elite. I still think he's going to be good, right? Maybe
Yeah.
he's a 3.7 ERA guy who's striking out 24%, walking 7, and he's a good pitcher.
Sure.
Maybe that's what this version of DeGrom is. Like how many arm injuries do you have to have before your pitching coaches or even in your own brain you think to yourself, I can't go all out. I can't be throwing 101. I have to figure out a way to pitch at 96, 97. And DeGrom's going to figure it out,
Yeah.
but he's going to be pitching at 96, 97. I think that's the point. He's not going to be pitching like the DeGrom we know and love. I don't even think he's going to be pitching like the DeGrom against the Red Sox,
Yeah.
where he was 98. Like, I think it's just going to be around. I think he's going to sit 96. That's awesome, right? Like, we're dealing with different expectations. You sit 96, that's incredible, but he's also a guy he's a 3 pitch guy. And when your fastball's at 96, I mean, technically now he's a 4 pitch guy because he's working in slider and changeup and curveball, but we know that he's mostly fastball slider. And when
Yeah.
your fastball's 96
It's not 100.
and the slider is not 90 anymore, right? It's
Yeah.
89, it's 88. It's still a great slider, but it's not 92
It's not that DeGrom slider.
like it
Yeah.
was in
I hear you.
2021.
I hear you.
So,
So, I mean, dude, it is really interesting. I wonder what we get from DeGrom moving forward, but I am encouraged by what we saw from Seattle this weekend.
absolutely.
Last series that we've got is Cubs Dodgers in LA. We're talking during Sunday Night Baseball. Game one went to the Dodgers 3-0. Scoring came on one swing. It was a 3-run home run from Tommy Edman off Matt Boyd in the sixth. Edman's sixth homer has him tied for the major league lead. Tommy Edman is tied with Aaron Judge in the home run department, which is just perfect. We love
Perfect.
baseball.
Yeah.
Matthew Boyd K'd 7 across 6 innings. Yoshinobu Yamamoto was the story. 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs. He walked one and struck out nine. Yamamoto handed it off to Kirby Yates, Blake Trinan, Tanner Scott. Yates, Trinan, Scott went three perfect behind him to close it out. This is how the Dodger pitching wins. Yamamoto for six, and you turn it over to the best bullpen in baseball. Game two, the Cubs bounced back and they took some anger out. 16 to nothing. The
Beat
Cubs
the
beat the
beat the shit out of the Dodgers. I think that's the only time I can say that over the past like 5 years. The Dodgers got their shit rocked.
They had Miguel Rojas throw 2 innings in this one. So
Two.
16 to nothing, the Cubs beat the Dodgers. 2 homers from Carson Kelly, homers from Michael Busch and Miguel Amaya. Michael Busch was 4 for 6 with a homer, 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, and 4 runs scored. Miguel Amaya 2 for 3. He drove in three. Gage Workman 2 for 3 with a pair of RBIs. Carson Kelly 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs and 2 walks. So he was on base 5 times. Ian Happ was on base 4 times. He was 3 for 5 with a walk. Kyle Tucker 2 for 4 with a walk and 2 driven in. Ben Brown, by the way, I mean, we're talking about the Cubs offense here, just spewing numbers at you. 6 shutout innings for the Cubs right-hander Ben Brown.
Curveball
Roki
was great.
Sasaki,
Curveball.
curveball.
Ben
Yeah,
Brown
curveball was just
curveball was
rocking.
awesome.
Roki Sasaki looked good. 5 innings, 1 run, but then Ben Kasparius, inning and two-thirds, 6 runs. Luis
Mm.
Garcia came into the game, not the Astros, Luis Garcia, the other one. Got 1 out, allowed 4 runs, and Miguel Rojas, 2 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs. The ERA is sky high for Miggy Rowe. Weird, weird ball game. Sunday night baseball is going on right now.
Yeah, what's the score?
Checking out that score. 3-2 Cubs in the bottom of the seventh inning. Looks like Mookie Betts. No, Will Smith doubled. Pete Crow Armstrong has a multi-homer day. Wow.
Okay.
Hit one in the third against Glasnow. Michael Busch homered in the sixth inning against Glasnow. And then PCA homered in the seventh off of Blake Trinan. So the Cubs up 3-2 in the bottom of the seventh right now. Colin Ray opened the game 3 2/3, 1 run. He struck out five. Line on Glasnow. 6 innings, a 2 run ball allowed the homers to PCA and Busch. And Glasnow struck out seven. So that's where we stand right now. Cubs and Dodgers, man. Hey, heavyweight fight that looks a little different than I was anticipating. 3-0 Dodger win, 16-0 Cubs win.
If I'm Jed Hoyer, I am on the phone right now going to get starting pitchers. I am on the phone right now going to get bullpen arms. With
So,
Justin
yeah,
Steele going down.
and to your point, like with the Steele going down thing, I do just want to cite like what happened here. Justin Steele is undergoing UCL reconstruction. Is that Tommy John or is it a brace?
I'm not sure, but the end result is he won't be available this season.
He's out for the rest of the year. And this one also from Nugget Chef. Justin Steele's 3.18 since the start of the 2022 season. The 3.18 ERA, fifth best among left-handed starters. Fried, Snell, Skubal, Framber Valdez. The
Yeah.
only guys better than Justin Steele among Southpaws. So, okay, you got this lefty out for the year. It's Shota and who? Ben Brown obviously looked awesome, but you're going to turn to Colin Ray every fifth day?
No,
You
Boyd's
can if you
still a good
want
pitcher.
right now.
Boyd's still a good pitcher.
Yeah.
Tyon will figure out a way to just kind of keep you in the ball game, probably. I mean, maybe not. He's not that good, but it's not a good rotation right now. It was a pretty good rotation when you have Justin Steele in it, but then you lose arguably your best pitcher. You're going to get knocked down a peg. And then in the bullpen, there's still a lot of question marks. So, like, if I'm Jed Hoyer,
Is Quinn Priester available?
again, is Paul Skeens available? Imagine the package the Pirates can get for him.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I
Paul
mean, they're
Skeens
gonna,
and Ellie. Paul
yeah,
Skeens and Ellie to the north side of Chicago.
no, but I mean, I'd be calling up. I'm even trying to look for some teams who would trade me a starter like right
I mean,
now.
the Angels would give you Detmers right now.
I mean, would the Angels would give you Detmers? Like, would the Twins even trade Pablo Lopez or Joe Ryan or Bailey Ober or any of these guys? Like, what I'm saying is Jed Hoyer should be on the phone right now. Don't wait for the deadline. Go now. I know it's not going to happen because nobody makes trades on April 13th, whatever, except Quinn Priester gets moved for a
Yeah.
haul. But I would be on the phone all night and calling every team below 500 that might end up being a seller and saying, who you got on the mound, I'm going to give it to you. Because the reason I'm saying that is, and I haven't called for any other teams to do it, the Cubs offense is awesome. Kyle Tucker is amazing. There's no breaks. This offense, as long as you have a little bit of pitching, can lead you to the playoffs. So let's go add a little bit of pitching after we just lost Justin Steele. Get on the phone.
You know who I want?
Who?
Feltner. Give me Ryan Feltner.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Come on.
Yeah.
Get more involved with that. I want Ryan Feltner in the Cubs uniform in a week.
No, I would like them to like go make a splash, call the Twins. Because the Twins, they got payroll concerns. They might sell. They're off to a bad start. They're not going to buy. So see what some of these, like, maybe even it's just Bailey Ober. Maybe it's not Joe Ryan or Pablo Lopez, but like go add a legit arm. Right? Call up the Orioles. See if they'll trade you Charlie Morton. I don't know. But you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Go get an arm. The Cubs, I love this Cubs team.
How
I
about
mean, they're one of the
Rasmussen?
most fun teams to watch in baseball.
How about Drew Rasmussen? That would be
I
fun.
know with the Rays. I mean, they have so many arms, they could trade one off. I think that'll
Feltner.
do it.
I'm totally in on Ryan Feltner.
So that'll do it for the weekend roundup. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed us breaking down the weekend that was in Major League Baseball. And the best way to continue the conversation, join our Discord. You can find the link in the episode description, just $10 to join. Your first month, we are having a blast in there. And if you don't want to spend a dime, or, I mean, you could spend a dime and go get yourself some Just Baseball merch, but that's for another time, even though the merch is awesome. And by another time, I mean, I'm going to tell you about it on every episode because the merch is awesome. But best way to support without spending a dime, rate and review Spotify, Apple Podcasts. That is the best way to support this show, as well as liking, subscribing, commenting on YouTube. Before we go, you got anything else?
I don't think so. Fish are hot. Off day today, and then we got Arizona coming to town for 3 before going to Philly.
And I'd give my name pronunciation in this episode a straight up B. I
Yeah.
think I did okay. Some mistakes here and there, but I'll get better. And hopefully you guys keep listening. For Jack and Mullen, I'm Peter Apple. We will see you tomorrow. With that, thank you, everybody.